For people who want to know what is the Keith Andrew Network, the whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. To prove them, you can still amount to something.
Hey babes, I'm Gwen Grace, and today I met with Keith Andrew. He's an amazing person. It was a wonderful interview, and I hope that you'll subscribe and like his channel. See you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith Andrew, and I'm here as a beautiful guest here only on the Keith Andrew Network. Now, today's episode is brought to you by cheat codes. If you like playing Super Nintendo, Sega, or any of the classic 80s and 90s games, go to Amazon, go to Game Genie. They sell books, really great. They're not paying me to say that. I actually got a book, cheat codes, because my friend hacked the Xbox, and I'm like, oh, I can play all these games. I came across Game Genie. I needed to know what cheat codes there were. There you go. If you like cheating, I'm not saying cheat to win, but it's a video game. You're supposed to have fun with it. But with that being said, following is brought to you by Game Genie, and this is episode 1036. I'm here with a great guest. She's an upcoming professional actress. And the first question I want to ask you is, what can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. Hi, I'm Gwen Grace. Nice to meet all of you virtually. I started off actually as a model. I had no intention of going into acting. I was actually kind of resistant to it in the beginning. People would be like, well, you really like to do these videos, and like I feel like you would be really good at it and you should really do up. And I would just always be like, no, it's not for me. It always just felt a little bit too naked, which is kind of ironic because I used to be a underwear and swimwear model. So it's like I felt less naked doing that than I did actually like bearing my soul and, like the vulnerability of it to everybody. But during the pandemic, I got into a class that, so Carnegie Hall has a free program that they sponsor that does acting classes, and you have to apply out of like all the people in the nation, blah, blah, blah. I forgot I applied, and then I ended up getting in. I think I was like one of like 15 people. So then I started taking my first class. And from then it was just like, I just fell in love. I felt like my whole life, I wasn't really ever in a place where I felt like truly in something. Like there were so many things I loved, but this was like the first thing where I was like, this is who I'm meant to be. This is who I am. And it's like, even if you're being other people, like I've never felt more myself. And here I am.
Absolutely. You have to have the heart and passion to do what you love day in, day out. I've been doing this for 10 and a half years, thanks to you, for 1,036 episodes. Met a lot of great people. I met a lot of people. I'm like, oh, you're a one-time thing. But my sister likes to tell me I have poor social skills. She's right. I do have poor social skills. But the reason I do the interviews is to help me with my poor social skills. If you would compare me to, I don't know, for an example, 16 years ago, now I feel old. I'm only 35. 16 years ago, when I was in high school, I'm not the same person. I was someone kicked me in my ass and say, do something that will make you have the confidence to express yourself in a positive way, of course, and just to do what you love. And if you look back to 2013, when I started my talk show, you could see from someone who did not want to be seen to now, like my dad says, I have diarrhea up the mouth, to I like to be a center of attention. So in the sunglasses too, it hides my eyes, but I think it makes me look cool. A lot of people say it's like, oh, you look like a drug dealer. Like, why are you hiding? But it's the confidence. You walk around with a security blanket, or you walk around with, I don't know, bad example, walk around with a chip on your shoulder. But you don't want someone to hold your hand and say, I'm going to do this, but at the same time feel like, okay, someone got me.
Yeah.
You just need to stand on your own 2 feet and express yourself. And of course, it has to be in a positive way because obviously you don't want to be an asshole about it. But like I said, it is uncensored PG 13. You do have the freedom to say anything and talk about anything. I have no cards on my sleeve. So
Okay. Neither do I.
I just want to make you laugh and you can express yourself, whatever you want to do. This is your time.
Thank you. Well, I love to laugh. And well, I just wanted to circle back on what you said. I think that despite appearances, most of us feel like we don't know what we're saying. Like even I would consider myself like fairly outgoing, fairly confident. Like there are many moments in my life where I enter like a party or something like that, and there is always a mild amount of discomfort. And I do feel like pushing yourself to do something that absolutely terrifies you, again, in a positive way, is such a good way to grow. And that's amazing that you've made it past 1,000 episodes. Like if you were a TV show after 100, you would have been syndicated. Like kudos to you.
Hey, if I ever get on the air, I would love to have you as a co-host.
I would love to. I
Actually, if
love
you
I love talking to people. I am a chatty Cathy. So when you say you have diarrhea of the mouth, I'm like, I don't think I could relate more because I love chatting to people, and especially like, like being in the city, people can tell I'm from the West Coast.
oh, I do have some great ideas for you, but I just got to throw it out at you. Would you be interested in creating our own show together and just testing the waters? Plus, it helps you because you have someone having a brain fart. I was gonna say, oh yeah, I work with you. Then I can say I work with disabled people. But
Yeah,
seriously, but it's kind of like it's a win-win because you're helping me, I'm helping you. Plus, you don't know what would happen until you try it.
I'm honestly always open to new ideas. Like aside from like, like the acting, like I'm a content creator and I do all this other stuff. So it's like my brain is always like spitfiring. So like I would love to do like a like talk show or something like that. Like I love meeting people, talking to people, and I'm sure we could play around and like, if worst thing that happens, maybe it doesn't work, but we like at least try it. We should give it a good go.
Absolutely. And I'm not hitting on you or anything, I
Oh
promise.
no, you're not. It didn't come off that way at all. Trust me.
So I'm going to ask you some hard-hitting questions and you can throw them back out at me.
Okay.
Where, if you don't mind me for asking, where in the city are you based? For me, I'm not in the city. I'm more like, let's see, from Manhattan, I'm an hour and a half away. I'm like, have you ever been, sounds like a stupid question. Um, Sorry, having a brain fart. When I don't do
No,
my
it's okay.
interviews as a way, my disability shows more, but that's hint of the show. Have
It's
you ever
okay.
been to Woodbury Commons?
I think that something filmed there one time, but I don't think I went. Um, what is that by like Scarsdale or like like what's another city that's like close to it?
Right, it's near like near West Point. It's near
Okay.
so Woodbury Commons is like a big outdoor mall. It has like 2,000 stores. Everything it's really nice. Maybe we can hang out one day. I can get you like a drink or something.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's the second biggest mall in North America. I believe the first one is the Palisades Mall. Really
Okay.
massive. That one's really nice. Woodbury Commons is a big tourist attraction. You can be from China, you can be from Japan. You don't even have to speak English. But the first time you say Woodbury Commons, their eyes pop out of their head. It's like, I know that. It's like, I thought you said you didn't speak English.
That's so funny.
But
Yeah.
it's really nice on it. You don't have to have lots of money. You can just come up, spend a day. If you're in the Catskills, I mean Hudson Valley, Catskills,
Yeah.
whatever. It's really nice. Just get away from the city. But I was gonna
I'm
ask,
a huge hiker, so I've been meaning to hit the Catskills, but I have to let you know that I'm actually like I'm temporarily back on the West Coast in Phoenix with my parents, just some family stuff. But uh to answer your previous question, I used to be in the East Village, which I loved. But yeah, no, the Catskills I hear are really beautiful. Like I hear a lot about Hudson Valley, a lot about the Catskills. And now that you mention it, Woodbury Commons, I think I have heard someone mention it in the context of the mall. But I actually am not a huge mall person. I think maybe I went too much as a kid.
well, for me, oh, not to sound like an asshole or anything, and not to sound sexist. It's
No,
more for like women and kids because you have dress stores,
valid.
you have purses, you have perfume, and that's fine, if you're into that. But for me, I'm like, I look at the list, like, nope, nope, no. Oh, a toy store. And I'm like, oh, there has to be a reason for me to go. I mean,
Yeah.
their bows is really nice. I do like suits. I like dressing up. I do like to play dress up, not in that way, obviously. But I like wearing fancy suits or sunglasses and sunglasses. But it's mostly catered to, there's a big selection to women.
No, I mean
Sunglasses,
that is their target demographic. So
yes.
I actually used to be an assistant buyer for Macy's. So we would do, like demographic research and the places that we had sent things. So that is a pretty like female centric area. But I actually think it's because I used to work in fashion that I'm not interested in malls because I used to just have to go to stores and like do research and stuff like that. And so now I'm more of like an online person. So sorry, I know Amazon's like not a big thing, but it's so convenient.
It is. One
Yeah,
thing, Amazon's really great if you need like small items. Um,
absolutely.
Food, on the other hand, could be a little questionable. I
Yeah, no,
mean,
I wouldn't do that.
I think my brother or my sister ordered something. But it wasn't me. I was thinking it's one of them. They ordered like food and it came from like a year ago. It's like, you mean this was sitting in a warehouse for a year?
Oh
But
my God.
it's kind of like, so food don't get from Amazon, but
What
if,
was it? Was it perishable?
I think so. But just
That's
the fact,
horrifying.
but on the back it said January something of 22, and this is a year later. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm not going to eat something from a year ago.
Oh my God. Do you know what's really funny is so I'm a child of immigrants, I'm first generation. My parents are so old school. They will be like, expiration date is just a suggestion. Like, I swear the other day I was looking for ibuprofen and I found a bottle that expired in 2008. And I was like, but they were like, no, it just still works. It's just less effective. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this.
I used to work over at Walmart, and I'm like, I like those new drinks, like the banana strawberry smoothies are
Oh, yeah,
really
yeah.
good. And I got one, and I was sitting outside because I don't drive, I can't drive, and I'm like waiting for my dad to pick me up or a taxi or someone, and something told me, look at the bottle. And I turn it around, and it said a year ago. It's like, are you serious? I drank something from a year ago. Well, if I have
Hmm.
food poisoning, I guess I have a day off from work.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, on one hand, there are a lot of preservatives and things, but on the other, if it's like a smoothie, that seems really dicey.
Yeah.
That's like gas station sushi to me. That's like the roulette of food.
But let me ask you this: do you think stars? Do you think I can't. When I see you, I think you're going to be a big star one day,
Thank you. I hope so.
and who knows? Maybe it's me too. But anyway, I was going to say, Not to blow you off. I was gonna
Oh, you're
say
fine.
I was gonna say stores, but I keep saying stars, stars. Do you think stores should be responsible for making sure if things expire, get it off the shelf?
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of what they're supposed to do. So like when you see people in stores like restocking, what they'll do is they'll move like the stuff with like the closer expiration date like to the front to try to get people to take it. And there's actually a huge issue with food waste because what a lot of stores do, what you're supposed to do is if food is expired, you're supposed to like throw it out, I guess. And a lot of times they don't. So it's not always like the safest to just go, I'm just going to grab something randomly. Like, definitely, I would say people should check expiration dates, but I do think it's part of their responsibility, especially if people get sick.
Yeah. No, I agree. Now we're gonna go for the hard-hitting questions. You can ask me, I can ask you.
Okay.
First one I want to ask you, do you, well, I mentioned this a couple of times before, but you're the first time you're gonna hear it. Unless you watch a couple of my episodes. During the pandemic, do you think it was a blessing in disguise? Because let me explain what I mean a blessing in disguise. People always said they wish they can stay home, work from home, have things delivered to them, never leave the house. Unfortunately, 500 million people died from this stupid virus. And by the way, it came from a lab. It's not to talk about politics, but that's my story. Um, but the question how this reflects to you is hasn't this given you a time to reflect on your life and see things from a different point of view?
Absolutely. I mean, again, obviously, it was difficult for many reasons for many people, and it's really unfortunate that so many people suffered COVID and passed away from it. And you have to thank like all of our service workers. But for me, I've always been somebody who's like, I'll try to pivot in any situation. I'll be like, there's something here. There's something good in here. And like I said before, like I would never be in this career, in this industry right now if the pandemic hadn't happened, because the pandemic forced me to go, why am I spending 60, 70 hours of my life like slaving away for someone else's dream? And then I had to look at myself and say, what are my dreams? And then this amazing opportunity like fell into my lap and it opened up a whole new world of possibilities, which were both terrifying and really exciting. But it was when I took that dive during the most uncertain of times that I felt the most peace in my entire life. Like not when I had the most money, not when I had the most attention, not when I had most of the things that people thought would make them happy. This was like this was an opportunity to look within and to really take that time to hone my skills, to hone my technique, and to continue to try to improve and be better. So for me, there's always good and there's always bad, but like I try to always find the good.
You're absolutely right. For me, it gave me more time to sit back and just work on my talk show. And this is what I want to do till the day I die. That's how passionate I am about it. But at the same time, it felt like, especially for my dad, it's like being under house arrest. You couldn't
Oh
really go
yeah.
anywhere without wearing a mask. And my brother said, "Oh, we're gonna go to movies, but he's gonna wear a mask." I said, "Oh, in that case, I'm not going because I'm
Yeah.
not gonna sit in the movies wearing a mask." And it's kind of like it makes sense, during the fall and the winter, if you're sick or there's flu season, you should wear a mask. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But just every day, and you should like what they do in China, it's like they wear a mask. I
Mhm.
don't want that to be my normal thing. It's kind of like I wanted things to go back to normal, and unfortunately, people say it isn't going to go back to normal. But let me ask you your opinion. Do you think eventually things will go back to normal, or is there a new normal?
I think it's a blend of the two. That's a great question. I think that what we saw from 2020 to 2022 was the peak of COVID regulations and stuff like that, especially on sets. It was pretty strict. There was different zones and stuff. But SAG-AFTRA recently ended the COVID regulations from their end. So I think we're slowly trying to get back to how things were, quote unquote, but I don't think that things will go back to exactly how they were. I think that we're going to find a balance between the two because before this, I think a lot of people like myself were not aware of how quickly things could go sideways or how quickly, we could be forced to stay inside. And it really makes you reevaluate some of the things that you value in life. So I think that that's changed. I think that people value working from home more now. You're seeing a lot of resistance from companies who are trying to get workers to go in. Uh, but yeah, what do you think?
I do agree with what you're not taking the shortcut and saying, I agree, next subject. Um, Eventually things will go back to somewhat normal, but what remember that whole thing about remote snow days at our schools on remote? They should have kept that because if there is a snow day, they should, you know, not to sound like one of those, people are like, oh, you take my snow days away from me. I mean, in case of an emergency, you have a
Yeah,
computer in your bedroom, you can learn and still have a snow day. You can do like a half a day, say do what 8 to 12, and from 12 you can do whatever the hell you want. Um, it's a combination of the two. But one thing that bothers me, and it's like you go to Walmart and you have both sides of the stores with cash registers and with people, and that's how you
mhm,
want it. But on the other side, you have like self checkout.
yeah,
The fact that they're trying to force you to do, I'm giving you an example. If you walk in with a water bottle, or something else, you want to go in and out, bing, bang, boom, that's it. If you have a wagon filled of 50 items, the last thing you want to do is play cash register and you say, oh, does anyone know this item? Wait, why am I asking if you know this item? I don't work here. But,
yeah,
I just don't like how it's being forced. And the excuse for the self checkouts is they save more money on a robot than an actual person. So you go to Target like early in the morning, you go to Stop and Shop early in the morning. They have customer service and everything else is self checkout. Well, was someone going to help me bag or something? Someone going to help me do this? And obviously, the machines are not really that clean, and that's where the bacteria and the COVID lives. But I like being a cashier. I'm not Superman at it. I'm not really fast at it, but I like to interact with people. One thing like have diarrhea in the mouth, but it's kind of like you leave your house to get that human interaction. You don't go there and feel like, okay, now I'm working, but I'm not being paid, if that makes any sense. Personally, when I
mhm.
see someone ringing up, I'm like, I'm going to go over to their register instead of ringing all these items by myself. If that answers your question.
Yeah, I think you do bring up an interesting point. I hadn't thought about it that way. I've always been somebody that likes doing things myself. So to offer an alternative point of view, I think that it's good to have a balance of the two. I certainly don't think that one should replace the other
Yeah.
entirely, but I think it's nice if you're somebody like me that like knows what you want in and out quick to just have the option to do self-checkout. But there's a reason why there's a help button on the self-checkout thing because obviously you do need help sometimes. So it's nice to be able to like, press that button if something's not ringing up correctly and have someone come over and help me. But to your point, I do see the conflict of being a cashier and standing there and feeling like, is my job being replaced? So I can understand from your point of view how that might be difficult. But let me ask you this. Do you think that there will come a point where cashiers won't be necessary? Because I personally think that we'll still always have some cashiers.
Um, well, I do agree with you 100% on that. There will be some stores, supermarkets that will have people, but there will be, on the other hand, some other stores that will whoever save a buck. And so I'll give you an example. We're cashiers, and they're like, well, we hire people, we have to pay them. But if we replace them with these cash registers and these self checkouts, then the investors and the stockholders get more money. So it's kind of like, I get it, you want to make your stockholders happy and you make more money. But at the same time, it's kind of like, I really hope, it's funny you should bring it up. My dad thinks eventually we're all going to be obsolete. We're useful mammals for the most part. But everything, it's you're going to be obsolete. Everything's going to be online, click of a button, have things shipped to you. Jobs will be obsolete. And I'm really hoping that's not the case. But unfortunately, I don't have control over that. It's up to the people to stand up and say, I want to work. I'm not dead. So I might be like, I almost said civil war. I might be like some conflicts. And once they say everything will be online, you're going to have a group of people that will come out and say, that's bullshit. I want to work. So it's really up in the air right now.
This is a good parallel to what's happening right now with the writer's strike. So for anyone watching, if you don't really understand what's going on with the strike, essentially, one of the main things that's happening is the writers are being asked to replace the writers now have mini rooms. So whereas they used to have 10 to 15 writers in a room to write a TV show, now it's 2. And now networks are talking about using AI to replace writers and things like that. But the thing is, you're never going to get as good of quality as you do from the writer. So there is that push and that pull where it is nice to have this supplementary tool to help you come up with ideas and stuff. But there's no regulation of, is this copyright infringement? Because what it does is it pulls from this aggregated database of other people's work. So that therein lies the conflict. But I do think that this is unavoidable, that AI is going to evolve. It already has. So what we need to do now is we need to come up with some regulations, and we need to also we need to find a way to balance the two, because I don't think humans are ever going to be obsolete. I think that I like to be positive and optimistic about it, but I do think that we need to find a way to work around it. And I think that we need to find a way to train the AI in a positive way, not let it get too far, if that makes sense.
I agree with you. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. I'm looking forward to part 2. Our goal is to reach 100 and more views. This will be shared on all social medias. If you're watching, definitely leave a like and a comment. And until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you and have a good night.